Yeah, better be recording, I guess. Hello, football fans. I'm Dennis Tobler in Las Vegas, and this is Football Forecast Weekly, the longest running prediction show in the country and also the winningest. Coming off a great week last week again, let me bring on my co host, the sports guru of Sports Talk Radio. That's Mr. Fred Wallen in Los Angeles. Fred, how was your weekend? I know it was good because you picked winners on the show.
It was fine. Hey, folks, we're taping this 1 hour before the trading deadline in the National Football League. So if something happens over the next hour, hopefully we'll be able to get it to you before we conclude this program.
And if we don't get it to you, then you'll have to make your own adjustments accordingly. Okay. I tell you what, we have a lot to discuss. There's a lot going on. I talked about the WNBA champs, the Aces, last week. The Golden Knights are going forward too. And this weekend is the Super Bowl or World Series or whatever you want to call it, of horse racing at Santa Anita Park in Los Angeles. And they run Friday and Saturdays. It's two of the biggest days of the year for yours truly, because I play these all the time. I've got two picks for you. You'll have to wait till the end of the show to get them, but I have two selections for you for the Breeders' Cup. So before we do anything else, let's jump right into the NFL football weekend. Fred, the first game we got this week is going to be played in Germany. Of all places, Germany. It's a great game. I wish it was played during times when people could see it, because I'm not getting up at 6:30 a.m. to watch a football game. So Miami is rated the road team. They're both on the road. Kansas City Chiefs is the team they're playing. The Chiefs are a slight 2-point favorite in this matchup, and who knows what the weather will be in Germany? Who knows if they play in a dome stadium? I don't.
Bottom line, this is a Swifty game. My
Okay.
opinion is if she's there, he's going to be tired. If she's not there, he's going to have more energy. Slight lean toward Kansas City. Kelce may have a big day.
Good. I'm glad you started off with Kansas City, because I'm going to take Miami. Last week we agreed on everything. We were mostly right on everything. We'll start off with some contradiction here. I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins. They're too fast. Kansas City, when they dumped it to Denver, they're showing me that they just aren't getting it done. They miss Tyreek Hill. I don't care what they say. They miss Tyreek Hill. And I don't think they will. I think Miami will come away with a win there. I think one of the biggest reasons is this. They're not distracted by the Kelce stuff. They're not distracted by the comedy of errors and everything. And Mahomes really isn't playing that good. I'm not sure his offensive line's that good as it was in the past, because they looked horrible at Denver, and Denver has a horrible defense. So I'm going to take Miami in this one. Take the 2 points. I believe Kansas City will be a 3-point favorite come game time. So even though this isn't one of the 8 games that have -3 on it, I'm going to take Miami and hope I get +3, but I'll take +2 anyway. But these German, 2 weeks now, we're going to have games in Germany. Are one of these teams going to stay in Germany for a week and play somebody else now, or do you know? I'm going to look ahead while you're thinking about it.
Let me tell you this, though.
Yes, next week there is a game in Germany, but it's not either one of these two teams. It's the Colts and the Patriots. So at least one team won't get to stay there like Jacksonville did in London, and get adjusted to everything. So anyway, I wish they'd play these games in the United States. I don't know what they're going to accomplish with it in Germany, but let them try. Okay. Next up on the board, we come back to the United States. Thank goodness. Minnesota Vikings be without their quarterback now, as he tore his Achilles tendon. The Atlanta Falcons have been overrated, overplayed, outplayed for the last 2 weeks now. And they opened as a 3-point favorite here and jumped to -5 right away. And I'm sure it's because of the quarterback being out for Minnesota on this matchup. I'm going to turn it to you over, but I'm going to say I'm taking Atlanta. They've underachieved. They're going to change quarterbacks this week. And I'm going to go with the new quarterback, the new outlook. I think they have the players to do it. Minnesota barely can beat anybody. And without their quarterback, I'm not sure. So I'm going to take the Falcons and lay the 5 hesitantly.
A few minutes ago, Minnesota traded for Arizona's Joshua Dobbs. That means Murray's going to be back in Arizona. I think Dobbs is smart enough. Again, he's got the aeronautical engineering 4.0 from Tennessee. I think he's going to start this week. I'm going to go with the points and take that line's going to move as soon as people find out that Dobbs is now the quarterback. I think he'll learn the offense within the week. I think he'll start on Sunday. I'm going with Minnesota and the points.
You're saying they got Dobbs to be the quarterback?
Yeah.
Look at this. I've been working all morning on pre-production while you've been studying the football, and I didn't even understand that had happened yet. So, okay, let's repeat that because I'm pretty sure most of the public don't know this. Minnesota's quarterback was hurt with an Achilles tendon, and they traded for Dobbs from Arizona, who they expect to start this week. Is that correct, Fred?
Yeah, and all they gave up was a 6th-round pick, which I found astounding because I thought he played pretty well for Arizona. And again, we already know that he's a smart quarterback, and Kirk Cousins is gone for the season, and he was playing well. He played well last week, certainly. So, in fact, 5 quarterbacks went down in the first games on Sunday. I don't think I've ever seen that before. All went down.
I don't know. There's been times when a lot of them went down at the same time, but 5 is a whole lot. And when they're out to the point where you don't know when they're coming back, that really makes a difference. And that's why they traded. They knew Cousins could not come back. So I'm glad you informed me of that trade because it doesn't change my mind one bit. I think Dobbs will take a week to get adjusted. The Falcons are at home. They've languished on the road. They lost 2 games and they're just too good to be in that position. So I'm going to go with Atlanta. They too are going to use their other quarterback this week. They're not going to go with their first teamer. So we'll see what happens in that one. That's a scary game with 2 new quarterbacks. Okay, the next matchup, the Seattle Seahawks finally are on the road to play the Baltimore Ravens, who came down to earth a little bit, but still kicked the crap out of Arizona last week. Baltimore is one of the best teams in the league. They're a 6-point home favorite here. What do you say to this one?
I'm going to go with Seattle. Seattle made a deal yesterday. Leonard Williams from the Giants. They gave up, I think, a 2nd and a 5th-round pick. But I think that tells me that they think they're right in the middle of it. They're right in the middle of the hunt, and they're quite serious about this. And Baltimore, of course, if you bet them last week, folks out there, the last-second touchdown against them cost you a few dollars, but they did win straight up. But the point is, I like Seattle here. I think Geno Smith playing very well. And again, that the deal for Leonard Williams indicates to me, and I'd love your thoughts about this, that they really believe, Carroll really believes, they can do something in 2023.
Well, I believe he does too. I think they can do something, and it was a good trade for them. I think they're sitting fat. They got a lot of confidence from those 2 home wins, even though they didn't blow those teams out. They still got a lot of confidence from it, and they're riding high now. I'm going to go against you here. I like Seattle, but I just think the points are too small. Baltimore can score at will. This will really be a tell me game about Seattle. If they can hold Baltimore down and stay in the game, it means something. But until Baltimore shows me they are not going to score 31 points a game, I'm going to take Baltimore because I think they're going to score 31 points every game. I think they're one of the 3 top teams in the league, actually. But, they got to put it all together. But every team has to put it all together. Okay, since we're talking about Arizona, let's roll right into the Arizona matchup. The Cardinals with Kyler Murray back at quarterback take on the Cleveland Browns this week. The Browns are 8-point favorites. They got decimated last week, like I knew they would get decimated last week, because their defense is not as good as everybody says it is. And Arizona's coming in there with Kyler Murray. I'm going to take the first shot at this one. I'm taking the +8 here. I'm taking Arizona, and I just might take Arizona to win the game. Cleveland has no quarterback. Their defense is very much overrated, period. I don't care what you people text me and email me and write on my Facebook page. The Cleveland Browns are overrated. So I'm going to take the Arizona Cardinals +8 in this one.
Watson might be back. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative for the Cleveland Browns. So I'm going to
Don't
pass
matter
on
to me. It doesn't matter to me.
I'm going to pass on this.
You're going to pass on it?
It's just too difficult to figure out. Murray's first game back. Watson missed last week. Is he coming back? Too confusing.
Nobody knows. He don't even know whether he wants to come back. So I'm talking about the Cleveland quarterback. Yeah, I think a lot of these games are going to come out in a different mode than last week because of all the changes. And who knows? We're doing this show early in the week. There's going to be more changes before the end of the week. That's for damn sure. So, all right, now we're back to the Los Angeles Rams, who certainly disappointed me last week by getting blown out by the rotten Dallas Cowboys. 1 week, Dak Prescott has 4 interceptions. The next time they play, he has 4 touchdown passes. So I threw my hands up in the air after they took control of the game early, and I'm just going to have to give up on the Rams. Even with the great offensive talent they have, it seems their defense can't stop anybody. I'm sorry to say that. Green Bay Packers, however, they're -3 here. Okay. I'm going to let you have it. I want to hear what you say first about this game. Green Bay's -3 at home, taking on the Rams, who are on the road for the second week.
Matthew Stafford's thumb is the question. Is he playing? Is he not playing? If he plays, the Rams should not be underdog to a team like the Green Bay Packers. Again, Jordan Love has not shown me a whole lot. Again, he didn't have much of an opportunity with Aaron Rodgers there. But the point is, I would take the Rams if Stafford play. They have a lot of ways to score.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had the kid from BYU, Nakoya, and to Cooper Kupp, who you could rate one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers in this league, they got a lot of ways to score. Obviously, they lost Williams as far as their running is concerned. But against Green Bay, I think they can still win with Stafford if he plays. Who knows? They tried to make a deal for Wolford, backup third stringer at Tampa. He wanted to stay in Tampa. So Wolford, remember, started a game or 2 for the Rams last season. So he knows the offense. So that tells me that they don't think necessarily that Stafford's going to play. They tried to make that deal, didn't come through. So it's a very tough game. I'm going to lean toward the Rams just on a gamble that Stafford does play, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not so sure what's the matter with his thumb either. I mean, they would have put a cast on it if stuff was broken. I would think, not just tape it and send him back out there. So hopefully he will play. I'm thinking he's going to play. Whether he plays or not, I'm on the same side as you. I'm taking the Rams. I mean, Green Bay, they are going to want to throw that team out of that cold city by the end of the year. I'll tell you, they are in trouble. They are in trouble, and Jordan Love cannot play quarterback. I don't even know why they drafted him the way they did. You said he played great in college. I don't even remember him playing in college, so I don't think he played that great. Anyway, he's a horrible quarterback. The Rams should get their defense aligned enough to maybe even score against them on defense. So I'm taking the Rams there. Thank goodness we agree on one game. One more matchup, then we're going to take a break. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the road to play the Houston Texans. Last week, Houston was favored on the road against Carolina, who had not won a game. And what did Houston do? They kicked the bucket and they lost the game straight up to Carolina. Now, most people should have had that, but I'm not sure how we coordinated it on the show last week. But this week, Houston's -3 at home. Tampa Bay has shown me that they can score after the game's over, and they're out of it, but they can't score during the game. This one here is too tough, really, for me to pick. If I had to take a side, I'd just say that Houston may win by 3. but I have really no opinion.
I think Baker Mayfield's due for another good game. So I'm going to take the points and take the Bucks in this one. And again, Houston lost the game last week. The two quarterbacks, the number one choice, the number two choice. The number one choice, Bryce Young, finally got his first victory with Carolina. I have a hunch that Baker will play well here. I'm going to take the few points and take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm not so sure why Houston is rated by 3 again. I mean, the game last week would have told you that they're not playing up to par and laying 3. I agree with you about Mayfield. He's getting better, and a couple of those balls he threw bounced off helmets into guys' hands that helped him a lot. But I guess I'll take the points here too. I mean, I don't have an opinion, but you've talked me into the Buccaneers. Okay, well, that takes care of the first half of the segments. Let's go to a break right now, and when we come back, we'll look at more football and have some Breeders' Cup picks at the end of the show. Stay tuned. At the end of the week, I make my picks. I put them up on footballforecast.com. Anyone who wants to purchase my picks for the weekend can do so by going to footballforecast.com and clicking on the page to buy the picks. Now, also on that page, I have my money management system. So even if you don't want to buy the picks, go to footballforecast.com, read about the money management system, and learn how you can better become a winner at betting on pro football. So don't forget it. Write it down. Footballforecast.com. Not only can you view the show there, but you can get my weekend selections there too. Hello, football fans. Dennis Tobler here with some great, exciting news for the 2024 season. You can watch Football Forecast weekly on many outlets, from Astound TV Network to footballforecast.com, gamblingbroadcast.com, the Gambling Broadcast Network on YouTube, and many, many, many more stations. Also, I want to tell you that you can access the audio to Football Forecast Weekly on every podcast channel. So pick your favorite podcast channel and make sure you bookmark Football Forecast Weekly for every week. We're on Amazon Music or Apple Music, Amazon, all the way to Spotify and TuneIn. Every one of them carries Football Forecast Weekly. So if you want to win and you want to win big, stay tuned to Football Forecast Weekly each week right here on this station. Welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. Dennis Tobler here with my co-host, Fred Wallen. Fred, let's get back into the NFL schedule for this weekend. The first game on the board we want to look at is the last morning game. The Chicago Bears on the road to take the New Orleans Saints. The Saints with their quarterback, Derek Carr, are playing a lot better. They're 7.5-point favorites. I might mention that before this week, they were only 5.5-point favorites. So Chicago's bad play, New Orleans' good play, has raised that line to 7.5. Fred, what you think?
Second time back, I think, for Botzik. I don't think Fields is going to be back. So a second time back, you're gonna probably play better than he played in game number one. I'm going to take the points. I'm not a Derek Carr fan, and I certainly not a Derek Carr fan this year. I know you liked him from the Raiders, but he's been screaming at his teammates. Sometimes that comes back to haunt you. So I'm going to take more than the touchdown and just have a hunch the Bears are going to play better here, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I don't have a hunch that the Bears are going to play any better there, and I don't care if Derek Carr yells at his teammates because they need yelled at. I think he brings stability to that team and confidence to that team and the ability to get the job done, which he did last week. And the Bears are done as far as I'm concerned. I mean, they can't score. They have a bad quarterback. I don't care if they bring their other quarterback in. Their defense is horrible. They go on the road. The Saints are invigorated right now. Carr might have yelled at the team, but I believe they're rolling high. I'm going to lay the 7.5 points and take the Saints here, just because I think the Chicago Bears are going to be 10-point, should be 10-point dogs to everyone, at least. Okay, let's move on down the line to, so we're opposite this week. Last week we agreed with each other on most of the games. We got some definite different opinions this week. probably good for the viewing audience. They should be taking notes. Next matchup, the Indianapolis Colts, -3 at those 1-win Carolina Panthers. So you get a shot at another one here.
It,
3 points.
Two bad teams. Although, to be blunt, the Colts have two fine running backs. Moss would start anywhere else. Taylor's now back. So I think you have to lean in that direction just based on the fact that they might gain 200 yards on the ground and eat up a lot of the time. So I think I'm going to take the Colts and go in that direction.
I think that's the right side here. It looks bad because they've played so bad, but Carolina's only got 1 win, and they really are bad. And you're right about the running game. They should be able to just keep the ball on the ground and control the whole entire game. Taylor looked really good last week, so he's getting back into the mold. And Carolina, they have nothing. They have nothing, and they're rookie quarterback. He might have got the win last week, and I don't know if he did anything great to get the win, but I still say he's too little. He's not going to make it. He's going to be hurt all the time, and I don't think he's going to be a star. I can't believe they draft these guys number 1. I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts on the road, -3. Sounds like a crazy selection, but you have to look at who they're playing. Okay, now we come to Mr. Robinson's New York Giants. And after I did not pick the Giants last week, I picked the Jets and won, by the way. I got a tongue lashing over my text messages about not knowing that Levis was such a good quarterback. Well, I didn't know Levis was such a good quarterback, but he says, why don't you read the box scores and stuff? I have to be honest with you. I don't read the box scores anymore. I play the market rather than play the stats. However, he may be right, and because Levis played a great game again and kept them in the game. But this week they're on the road to play the Raiders, and they're coming to Las Vegas here. Las Vegas is a 2-point favorite. They've got that flying tattooed guy on defense running around complaining about how lousy the team is, when it's probably half his fault. The defense can't stop anybody because he don't play his area. And Garoppolo got hurt again. I don't know whether he'll be back to play, and I don't know whether it'll make a difference whether he'll be back to play. But the Giants, they don't have a defense. I think the Raiders will get some home field advantage here, as long as they don't play the rookie at quarterback. Okay, if they play Garoppolo or they play the third stringer, I'm okay with the Raiders, and I'll lay the 2. But if they try to put the rookie in there against the Giants, who have a pretty decent defense, he's not going to be able to get it done. This is one tough game, and you wouldn't think it would be because the Giants are so lousy. Did you hear me, Mr. Robinson? They're lousy. So I'm going to take the Raiders and lay the 2 and probably be laughed off the earth.
Giants had -9 passing last week. Levis was playing for Tennessee.
Okay.
Could be,
I wish you'd have stopped me before I got into the rant. And Tennessee this week plays too early to make the show, so we don't get to talk about Levis. I thought he was the Giants' second-team quarterback because that's his favorite team, but he's not. So who's playing for the Giants?
Danny Dimes is back.
Oh, okay. That does it. I'm taking the Raiders for sure and letting him do it.
What's the total? What's the total on this one?
Okay, the total on this game is, well, it started at 40. It's down to 37.5 now. So it's dropping.
Again, defense, no defense. The way Jimmy G played on Monday night, they're not going to. They shouldn't score a lot of points. The Giants,
exactly.
but the Giants stink. I can't make anybody a favorite. So on a hunch, not a lot of points will be scored, even at 37.5. Okay, so 2014, something like that, 21-14. I can't see a lot of points being scored in this one. How the Giants could lose, that was one of the worst games in 50 years of watching, or 60 years of watching football. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. I watched part of it, And I said to myself, this can't be happening. The Giants played perfectly well just to lose. I mean, it was like you knew they were going to find a way to lose, and they found a way to lose. The Jets, of course, with Wilson, not Jared Wilson, the wide receiver, with Zach Wilson, aren't exactly a dominating type club, but against the Giants, they found a way to win. And interesting. Boomer Esiason said that that last second tying field goal was really late, and then they proved that he would. And Boomer was a good quarterback for the Bengals for many years. He works at WFAN, but they proved that he was wrong. Once the referee puts the ball down, that the center can snap it at any point, and they got it in with 1 second to go. They tied it up, and then of course they win on the field goal in OT. But again, the Giants played like they've all played all season long. That they except against the second half against Arizona, they stink, and Raiders aren't much better. And again, the Raiders have. If you're going to rate 32 coaches, the Raiders got number 32, I think. So the bottom line is not a lot of points in this one. I'm going under.
Yeah, let me say this about McDaniels and the Raiders coach. He screwed up that entire team. Mark Davis should be sad for letting Rich Pataccio go because the team was playing well. Derek Carr was an ultimate leader. And to bring in somebody else, and Garoppolo never played the preseason. He's been hurt the entire year. Something's the matter with him. So it doesn't look good. I think we can agree on one thing here. No points are going to be scored. Okay? I think the under 37.5 is a solid play here because I don't know how they're going to score any points in this game. So take your pick, people. The Giants plus the 2 or the Raiders minus the 2, but the under should be the play in this matchup. All right, let's go on to the a little bit better matchup. This is the last afternoon game of the day. The Dallas Cowboys on the road to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Philadelphia is the number 1 team in the league. The Dallas Cowboys is number 3 or 4. This would be a fighting matchup. The Eagles are only 3-point favorites. But Dallas is such a chameleon team. 2 games ago, he throws 4 interceptions. Last game, he throws 4 touchdowns. Now, the Rams weren't that bad to give up 4 touchdowns, so he did something right here. But I can't take Dak. I think Philadelphia, man, I think they're starting to roll now. I think they're playing well on offense and defense, and that home crowd there is a big one. And I'm going to take a chance and lay the 3 and take the Eagles.
The Philadelphia Eagles have 2 fine wide receivers. People don't know how good Brown and Smith actually are. Cowboys have injuries in that defensive secondary from the first game of the season. I think Hurts is going to hurt Dallas. That's all. That number is way too low. And it's only that low because the Cowboys game against the Rams that shouldn't count. Look, McVay wants to quit. The Rams aren't that good. And that 1 interception was unbelievable that Stafford threw. But the point being, the Philadelphia Eagles are better than the Dallas Cowboys. And I would say Philadelphia, if you were to rate the 32 teams, Philadelphia 1, 2, or 3 as far as all the teams in the league. I mean, you got to have Miami in there. You got to have KC in there if Mahomes plays well. And I think Buffalo's below that level now. So I'm just taking Eagles. That number's low. That number should be like 5 or 6. So I think we're getting the advantage there. Folks, this one you should bet right away because that number's going to go up. I like the Eagles.
I agree with you. And the Eagles are very, very good. Dallas got their win last week. They're going to go on the road. Philadelphia is a tough place to play anyway. And we don't know what the weather will be at this time either. But 3 points is too small here. The Eagles have been number 1 on the bookies charts as the top team all year long. Last year and this year, when it came to betting on team wins, total team wins, the Philadelphia Eagles and last year and this year took the most money on those kind of wagers. So they certainly are, if not the top team in the league, one of the top two teams in the league. And I think they're going to expose Dallas here again. You're right about their defensive backfield, and who better to take advantage of it than the Eagles? I think the line should have been 5 or 6 in this one, and I'm going to take Philadelphia here too. All right, let's cut away for a short break, and this will be a very short one. We'll be back, catch the late games and a little Breeders' Cup.
Now place your bets. This groundbreaking film details the dramatic rise of legal sports betting in Las Vegas and its growth into a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide. Through in-depth interviews, personal accounts, and vintage footage, we highlight the key elements and milestones that shaped the sports betting industry into what it is today. This history also dovetails with the changing fortunes of Las Vegas as a gambling town at turns overseen by the elements of organized crime, corporate interests, and the U.S. government. Featured prominently in the film are pioneer odds makers and historians who witnessed these events. Today, betting on sports is a popular pastime and a lifestyle choice for many Americans. Its appeal incorporates the innate drive for competition and the rewards of winning. Watch Now Place Your Bets on Amazon Prime and NowPlaceYourBets.com.
At the end of the week, I make my picks. I put them up on footballforecast.com. Anyone who wants to purchase my picks for the weekend can do so by going to footballforecast.com and clicking on the page to buy the picks. Now, also on that page, I have my money management system. So even if you don't want to buy the picks, go to footballforecast.com, read about the money management system, and learn how you can better become a winner at betting on pro football. So don't forget it. Write it down, footballforecast.com. Not only can you view the show there, but you can get my weekend selections there too. Welcome back to Football Forecast Weekly, everyone. Dennis Tobler here with Fred Wallen. We're at the end of the football schedule now, and we got more information after that, so stay tuned. The Sunday night matchup this week is the Buffalo Bills at the Cincinnati Bengals, which is a good matchup to have on TV. We've got 2 good games on TV this week instead of last week's horrendous blowouts. So anyway, the Buffalo Bills, who aren't playing very well and are wondering what's going on, are on the road to play the Bengals, who found themselves last week, won on the road in a huge manner. And I think they're coming back into their Super Bowl form. So I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one. I'm going to lay the 3 points. I don't think Buffalo has it figured out yet. I'm starting to wonder about the coach. That's what I'm starting to wonder about. And the offensive plays too. Now, it can't all be the quarterback, and he knows when to throw the ball. So they've got some other problems there. They should have never lost the games they've lost. I'm going to continue with this. I think Cincinnati's on a roll. I'm going to take them minus the 3.
Burrow's ankle seems to be 95% back, and I think that makes all the difference. I mean, they played horribly at the beginning of the season, but that was because of his ankle. He's got the wide receivers. Bills certainly have had great moments. They've also had some down moments. Folks, I mean, you're watching the show, so you understand. If Cincinnati is a 3-point favorite at home, but the bookies are saying is basically on the road at a neutral field, it's an even game. I don't think right now they're even team. I think Cincinnati is slightly better. So, maybe it should be 4, maybe it should be 5. Not a big lean towards Cincinnati, but I think the Bengals are playing well enough, and the streak will continue. They'll win one more time.
I do too, and I think maybe the line may go to 3.5 at least before the kickoff of the late game. But the Bills have put themselves in a hole. They've really put themselves in a hole here, and I don't know if they're going to be able to pull out of it. So we're both on the Cincinnati Bengals for the night game on Sunday. It looks good to me. All right, let's move to the Monday night matchup this week. And this is week 9, folks. So we're halfway through the NFL regular season. We get to see the Chargers on the road to play the New York Jets. The game might be better than people think. The Jets have a decent defense. Second game at home. Their last week's game against the Giants is a home game. They play in the same stadium. So the Chargers are 3-point favorites on the road in this matchup. And it seems to me this one will be a tough one for them to win.
I'm not a fan of Brandon Staley, as you know, but Herbert is back the way he played last week. The Jets have to feel fortunate to have won last week against the Giants. I think the Chargers score enough points here to win. I just do. Of course, the loss of Mike Williams at the beginning of the season has made a difference, but Herbert's got enough wide receivers, including Keenan Allen, sort of disappeared in the second half last week. It didn't matter. They scored enough points easily to win. I'm going with the Chargers here. And for me to take Brandon Staley, I got to really believe that the Chargers are 3 points better than the Jets. And again, I think part of that, the Jets won a game they shouldn't have won. I don't think they can win here. I'll take the Chargers on Monday night.
Well, I like the Chargers, and I like what they did last week. But in this matchup, the Jets somehow, some way, their defense is good enough to stop them enough to come within this spread. I think the total on this game is up to 49. I think that's too high of a total on it because I think the Jets are going to try to run the ball. Last week you said the Jets quarterback was pretty good, but he's not real good, Fred. He's just not. Zach Wilson.
I didn't say he was pretty
I thought
good.
you said he was real good.
I said their wide receiver Jared Wilson was pretty good.
Oh,
Very
that's
good.
what I heard.
Not the
Wilson was quarterback.
I definitely don't think Zach Wilson is pretty good. And folks,
Okay, I'm glad you cleared that up for me.
If you get a chance, listen to WFAN in New York. And again, I bring that up because when it first started, I was filling in all the time. So I do listen to that station. Listen to what the folks, I'm talking about the host, think about Zach Wilson. I mean, they're looking for a trade. When Joshua Dobbs was traded earlier today, they were screaming on the air, he should have been here. He should have been here. So they're not high on Zach Wilson. They wanted backup Joshua Dobbs to start right away for the Jets. And so, no, I'm not high on Zach Wilson. He has shown me very, very little. You were very fortunate to win last week. We'll see what happens this Monday night.
Yeah, this will be a tough test for the Jets here. I think the home field's going to go a long way for them. And hey, we just as well mention the referees while we have time on the show. What a horrible job the NFL referees have done all year long. Nothing is consistent. The Rams game and the Dallas game can show you that alone. Another thing, I got two more bitches and I'm going to get them out right now. The other bitch is the female referees on every crew. Why are there female referees on every crew? Okay, and when the female referee is a lineman, the linesman, they don't know what to do, where to place the ball. You can see it constantly. They put the ball down a yard before or a yard after the stick on the other side of the field. I can't stand them. And you know what? If they're going to have women officials, make them put their hair up in their hat so we don't know it's them making all the mistakes. That's all I can say. And I don't know how any woman could be put ahead of any professional official who's been officiating for 10, 20 years, and they just bring women in right now, and they're going to do it. I'm telling you, if there's women officials on the playoff games and the Super Bowl games, I'm going to have a fit, and you can just count on everything to be out of whack if that happens. A backfield coach and a line judge, they should not be women, okay? Now, I hate to say it, and I know I'm a chauvinist pig, but look, they never put on a helmet in their life. They have no idea what it's like to get hit. They don't have no idea what it's like if you can't stop and you hit a person after the fact. You know, they don't understand any of that. And that bothers me a whole lot. But the thing that bothers me the most is when they're the linesmen and they don't know where to put the ball after the play. That happens all the time. Okay, that's one bitch. You're going to address that after my second bitch. My second bitch this week is what's with all the pedal pusher pants on these guys? What the hell are they doing wearing their pants up to the base of their thigh? They're supposed to go over their knees to protect their knees. and I can't imagine a pair of pants with pads on it, making it so you can't run any faster, or you can't kick any further, or you can't throw any further, because I don't want to hear about your poor knees and all of this stuff when you're wearing your pants like pedal pushers. You know what pedal pushers are, right? They're what you
Yeah.
wear when you ride a bicycle. These guys that are wearing them, they irk me. Can't you wear a football uniform? If you want to take off some pads, don't wear any thigh pads either, Take off them rib pads too. Let's see how long you last. And you notice that all those wide receivers and those defensive backs getting hurt are wearing pedal pusher pants. Okay, don't have any protection on your knees. Who cares? You're playing a tough game. Don't do it. So I don't like their outfits. I don't like the pedal pushers. I don't like the women referees. And I can blame them for every loss I've had this season. It was either the pants or the referees every time I lost a game. Okay. On this Charger game, we've already said our piece, right? I'm going to take the Jets in a flip. Before we go away, we're going to talk about the Pac-12 big game coming up. I want to say something to you before you get into that, and that is one of the best players in college ball is that Hunter that plays for Colorado. He plays on both sides of the ball, defense, and is his last name Hunter? I believe it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, he plays on both sides of the ball. And he's the only true real star that Deion Sanders brought with him to Colorado. I mean, the quarterback's okay, but the rest of them are little bitty players, and they can't compete against the big teams. But I want you to I know you vote for the Heisman. I want you to take a look at what he does, because he had a lacerated liver and missed 2 games this season. And still he's coming up with the big interceptions. He's coming up with the big receptions. Playing on both sides of the ball don't happen very often. He needs to get some votes. That's what I'm saying. All these quarterbacks don't need the votes. I mean, you can throw away the quarterback from the Oklahoma Sooners. How he was ever second in the ratings, I'll never know. The only one left is JJ from Michigan. And if he wins at all, he's probably going to be the Heisman winner, I would suggest. I don't know who else is in the league. That's why I wanted to mention to you that kid from Colorado. You don't find two-way players anymore. He'll be a top 3 draft choice this year, or whenever he wants to come out, he'll be a top 3 draft choice. So now that I've stepped on your analysis of the Pac-12, please tell us about the big game.
Well, first of all, J.J. McCarthy of Michigan, Michael Penix of Washington, Bo Nix of Oregon, Caleb Williams of USC. I think Williams probably out of it because of the 48-20 loss to Notre Dame a couple of weeks ago. But the other 3 are certainly in it. This week at the Coliseum, and I think it'll be a sellout. I'm almost sure it'll be a sellout. Michael Penix in Washington face the Trojans of USC. Now, you know how bad the defense is for USC. Mr. Grinch, the assistant, isn't getting it done. Gave up 49 points last week again. However, Washington's defense is not what it was earlier in the season either. So I don't know what the total. I don't have the total in front of me right
74.
here. What?
74.
Oh, it's going to go way over that. Yeah, honest to God, I can see USC won last week 50-49. I can see 60-59. Nobody's going to stop anybody. It's a nationally televised game. Don't miss it if you like scoring. And these quarterbacks are going one up against each other. So, internally, they're going to really be playing well. I think in the end, Washington might win, but I don't know. All I know is it's going to go way over 74. I can see 60-59, one way or the other.
Well, there we go. We give our viewers some extra information this week, because playing the over in that USC-Washington matchup will be an easy lock. You're right. Neither team can score each other. There'll be 50 points scored on both sides of the ball. That's the best bet of the week, folks. Take the over in the USC-Washington game in college. All right, I have a quick look at the Breeders' Cup here. I have to mention my friend Fred Conquest, who owns a portion of a horse named More Than Looks. More Than Looks has only been out 4 times, I believe, this year, and won by a mile every time. They skipped a grade 2 race at Keeneland last week to enter him in the turf mile this week. He gets an outside post, number 13. He's 15-1 on the morning line, and you want to bet this horse across the board. More Than Looks. Okay, he's a more than ready offspring. He's a fanciful stallion, and he's a big moose monster. And I look for him to win the turf mile. And 15-1's the morning line. I doubt we get that at the race time, but whatever it is, it'll be a big one. And then I can't leave without giving my classic select, the Breeders' Cup Classic for the older horses. The best ones in the world are running. We have horses from Japan and all over the United States. We just got information this morning that the favorite, Arcangelo, has been scratched. He threw a shoe in workout and hurt his hoof, and he's been scratched. I want to quickly mention that kind of stuff's happened to me before, where your horse is ready to go, and one day before you're running in a race you're going to win, he throws a shoe or something and you're out. There's nothing more frustrating than that in the world. So I feel sorry for those people that are the connections to Arcangelo. However, my pick to win the Classic is Arabian Night, a Bob Baffert trained horse. He's 3-1 on the morning line. He's got an outside post too. They're going a long distance of ground in that Classic. I look for him to go out the lead and maybe run all the way around in first place. So that's Arabian Night in the Classic, the Breeders' Cup Classic on Saturday. Anything else to add, Fred?
We just agree on Bob Baffert, so I'm going to pass on that horse.
Okay, we don't dare talk about that. So we will wait until next week. Same time, same place, same stations, same podcast channels. Catch Football Forecast Weekly. Until then, goodbye and good luck.